variant surges in Goa and Kerala. High alert sounded in several states. Should you cancel your holiday plans? Are holiday hotspots the new COVID hotspots? Is the COVID nightmare back with full force? Top focus on 6 p.m. Prime.
Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita and over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be getting you all the latest updates on the COVID numbers coming in particularly from the south states. Holiday season, most of us have booked travel plans, mostly to places like Goa and Kerala. And it's here that you're seeing maximum number of cases being reported. Should you be worried? We'll get you experts over the next half hour to break that down for you. Let's begin with the headlines. 4 soldiers killed in action in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri. Army convoy ambushed. Sources say terrorists held a recce before attack. Pakistan-China terror tango exposed once again. Top military sources tell India Today Pakistan and China are pushing terror to divert India's attention from Ladakh. Parliamentary Affairs Minister speaks exclusively to India Today on suspension saga, says opposition is deliberately disrupting Parliament to take revenge after poll laws, claims Rahul Gandhi instigated the protest. Politics over Karnataka Mantri's jet splurge. BJP attacks Siddaramaiah Sarkara for wasting money amid drought in state. Siddu Mantri calls it diversionary tactics by BJP. Ram Mandir preparations in Ayodhya enters final stages. Invite showdown peaks. Uddhav Sena slams Modi government for no invite to the consecration ceremony in 1 month from now. And French President Emmanuel Macron accepts Prime Minister Modi's invite, confirmed as India's chief guest at the Republic Day parade on January 26th. Let's begin with a news break coming in on wrestlers, one after another continuing their protest over the appointment of Brij Bhushan's aide as the Wrestling Federation of India chief. After Sakshi Malik quite literally hung up her boots yesterday and broke down as she announced she's retiring from wrestling, now you have Bajrang Punia also in a form of protest resorting to award Vapsi. He's decided that he's going to return his Padma Shri and has even shot off a letter to Prime Minister Modi on the same. Remember that Bajrang Punia was someone who was also a part of the protests. Punia, in his letter to the Prime Minister, has highlighted the difficulties that these wrestlers have been facing, saying that we've cried all night, we have no idea what to do, and that's why we're taking this step. This comes after Brij Bhushan's aide was in fact elected as the Wrestling Federation of India boss, leading to the likes of Sakshi Malik and Bajrang Punia, who remember also staged the dramatic protest in Jantar Mantar, going ahead with their next form of dharna. Sakshi Malik has announced she's retiring from wrestling and broke down. And now, today, you have Bajrang Punia returning his Padma Shri and shooting off a letter to the Prime Minister saying we feel absolutely helpless, we feel completely let down. Remember that Brij Bhushan, who you see on the left of your screens, they're celebrating his aide's win. And note the fact that there are perhaps more celebration of Brij Bhushan than the aide who's won. He said that there was a fair election that took place, and so these wrestlers, for all they want, can protest, but nothing can change the fact that there were elections that were held as they demanded. I want to play out for you what Bajrang Punia has said.
ये मेडल लेके मैं जी के करना भी चाहिए आगे जाने का। जब ये इनको देखते तो वो चुभते हैं कि भाई ये किसने ये सम्मान हमें मिला था। जब हम बहन बेटियों के लिए लड़े उसमें हम सफल नहीं होगा तो ये सम्मान का मुझे लगता है मैं हकदार नहीं हुई सम्मान का। ये मेडल
So that's the reaction that's come in from Bajrang Punia, who's now returned his Padma Shri. I want to bring in Milind Sharma on this broadcast. Milind, Sakshi Malik first going ahead and retiring from wrestling, saying she doesn't know what else to do. Now you have Bajrang Punia returning his Padma Shri. Wrestlers, the ones of course who are part of the Jantar Mantar stir, once again upping the ante. What's their demand now? Are they saying that the government must intervene in this, considering that elections were held and you had, unfortunately, Brij Bhushan's aide winning? What really do they want the next step to be here?
Well, Akshita, the fact that Sakshi Malik literally hung her boots, wrestling boots yesterday, and now Bajrang Punia, the only Indian to have won 4 international wrestling championship medals, has come all the way to the PMO and said that I will return the highest honor the country has awarded him, the Padma Shri, speaks of the fact that the wrestlers are completely distraught at the election of Sanjay Singh, who is now known as the close aide of Brij Bhushan Saran Singh. And when it comes to what next, we asked Bajrang Punia that whether, all the wrestlers are once again going to get together and stage a protest. He said, what's the point of protesting when the government has not really been able to provide that voice of justice to these wrestlers? Because when Sanjay Singh is elected by a landslide margin of 40 votes out of 50, and, Anita does get around 7 votes and 3 are other votes, but the fact remains that the wrestlers completely distraught at this moment. Yesterday we saw Sakshi Malik break down, and today Bajrang Punia as well, who was not allowed to go all the way to the PMO, has left his medal, the Padma Shri, and that has been taken by the Delhi police. Of course, there was resistance. He was trying to say that I was in the fight not for politics, as being alleged by a lot of people, but for the fight of justice for these wrestling women. And if the same thing is going to happen again, then these players really have nowhere to go, and they have decided to give up whatever they have put their blood and sweat into action.
Okay, unfortunate developments this, but largely those who back Brij Bhushan are saying that, look, elections were held fair and square, his aide has won, so there's nothing really that can be done. But that's the exact same argument that these wrestlers are putting forth, saying we feel absolutely helpless with this development. Thanks very much, Milind, for getting us all of the latest on that big news break. Wrestlers who've been part of the Jantar Mantar stir against Brij Bhushan now upping the ante against his aide, who's won the WFI chief position. Let's move on to our top story that we're focusing on here at 6 p.m. Prime. Yesterday, we got you all the latest on the COVID spike that we're seeing, particularly in the southern states. And today, we wanted to also give you a sense of what's expected to happen in the weeks to come. The central government has sounded off an alarm, and that's because they believe that cases will go up in the days to come, particularly during holiday season. In fact, in the last 24 hours, 640 new infections have been reported. Also, keep in mind that testing numbers have gone up, which is why you're seeing more cases also being reported. This means that the active cases right now in India stands at 2,997 based on data from the Union Health Ministry. India has witnessed almost double the COVID cases versus what it was yesterday. 358 cases were reported yesterday. Today it's 640. Now, a resident of Noida has also tested positive for COVID, marking the first case in Uttar Pradesh's Gautam Budh Nagar after a prolonged period. Remember that the surge in cases currently is being driven by the new COVID variant JN1. So in the last 1 week, we've seen the biggest surge in COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Look at that graph on your screens. At about 339 cases, when it started off on December 16th, alarm bells did ring off within the administration, and they started putting out advisories, taking steps to ensure that there was no further spread. It went down briefly, but it's gone right back up. It's at 640 cases, and that's the number of cases that's been reported in the last 24 hours. Let me again reiterate for you that the reason you would also see numbers going up is because testing now is being ramped up in several states where the JN1 variant has been identified. Now, as far as deaths are concerned, no new deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours. 6 deaths essentially in the last 1 week that's been reported. And in all of these cases, as the government has confirmed, there were patients with comorbidities as well. So it wasn't solely due to COVID, as the JN1 variant, importantly, we must highlight here, is not one that triggers serious illness. Now, of the 640 cases that have been reported in the last 24 hours, the maximum number is again from the state of Kerala. And I want to bring in on this broadcast my colleague Shibimol as well as Saga Raja on this broadcast to tell you what's really the situation in these states. Let's focus first, in fact, on Karnataka, and let's tell you about the numbers that have come in, because the active cases in Karnataka stand at 105. 2 deaths have been reported in the state, and largely the number of cases being reported is from the city of Bengaluru. That's again because testing is more in the urban areas than really in the rural pockets. Let's get you some of the reactions coming in from Bengaluru on what officials are doing to tackle this rise in cases.
We are at KC General Government Hospital in Bengaluru, and this is one of those famous and well-known government hospital. As of now, there are close to 20 beds which has been allotted for COVID patients in the OPD. Apart from this, you also have 2 ICUs, and each of them have close to 50 beds. According to the doctor and the superintendent of the hospital, Mohan Kumar, who claims that they are well equipped with oxygen, medicine and other requirements for the COVID patients. As of yesterday, according to the government report, close to 105 people have been reported that they have been infected with COVID. 85 of them have been advised for home isolation.
All right, let me take this across to Saga Raj. Saga, we just played out the report that you showed us of how hospitals are all geared up in case there's a rise in COVID cases. Holidays, of course, have kicked off. It's a long weekend. A lot of people have made their travel plans. Is that something that the government is keeping in mind when putting out fresh advisories?
As of now, there are no fresh advisories. What we'll get to learn from the health department is the technical advisory committee will advise the health department whether they have to go ahead and impose any kind of restriction. But as of now, there are no restrictions in the state of Karnataka. Anybody can travel anywhere, but they have advised people who are above 60 years and people who are in large gathering to maintain social distance and try to wear a mask in all these places. Okay. As of now, the government have clearly said that do not panic, do not worry. The situation is under control, and the hospital, you just watched my report, even in that particular hospital when I visited, there were not even a single patient in that COVID block, and in fact most of them are at home isolation, whoever have been reported COVID positive, and whoever have comorbidities, only they are at hospital and under treatment. As we speak now, that is the latest news that we are getting from Dakshin Kannada is that one more person have succumbed due to COVID. He is 40 years old. He is from North India. He was working and he also had a diabetic and alcoholic, and the doctors have to confirm whether he has died due to COVID or comorbidities. As of now, he was also a COVID patient. He was under treatment at the hospital, but he is no more.
It's important to highlight that these deaths, as Sagai also told us, is of patients with comorbidities. So it's not solely due to COVID that they're facing this kind of a critical situation. Let's focus now on the state of Kerala. If all the active cases in India, if you look at those numbers, the maximum of them are being reported from the state of Kerala. Even in the last 24 hours, maximum of them from Kerala. The active cases are 2,606, 3 deaths that have been reported in the state. Remember that the JN1 variant was first detected in Kerala, and this is something that the government has highlighted. There is, of course, a COVID task force that's been put in place, but they've also said that a lot of the people who are traveling into the state are testing positive for COVID, which is what is leading to this huge spike in numbers in the state. Let's get your reactions coming in from the Kerala Health Minister and other officials before I take this across to Shiv.
There is nothing to worry about because from November 1st onwards, we have found a slight increase in the number of COVID cases. So we had a rapid response team state level meeting and a ministerial level meeting was held, and in my meeting we decided to start genomic sequencing. We have been sending samples from November 1st onwards. So we are doing tests. There is no increase in ICU occupancy, ventilator occupancy or isolation bed occupancy.
Health Minister saying that every step needed is being taken right now. There's absolutely no reason to panic. And remember that there's no sort of rules that have been put in place with regards to mandatory masks or any of that at this point. Let me bring in Shibi on this broadcast. Shibi, this kind of an unprecedented spike that we're seeing in COVID cases in the state of Kerala, as much as the government says there's no reason to panic, will obviously trigger a lot of concern and worry. Explain to us what's led to this spike. Is it that there are a lot of people coming in from abroad who are testing positive? Is it that testing perhaps has been ramped up in Kerala more than other states?
Well, Akshita, the most important point, taken out by Health Minister Veena George is that the number of tests carried out in Kerala is very high in comparison to other states. She said she had attended a meeting with all the health ministers from various states, and when they were presenting the data, she was saying that the number of tests done here is really, really high in comparison to other states. And she said that the situation is we heard her speak, she's saying that the situation is very much under control. There's no restriction in place, and she said that out of all the people tested positive, the active cases, only 98% of them are in home isolation. But of course, like you said, Kerala has a population that's spread across the world. The airports are one of the hot spots in Kerala because people keep coming from different places. Kerala's population, like I was mentioning, is settled in different parts. So it's also festive season, it's Christmas season. She was also saying that the Christmas tourism season has also been drastically affected because of the increase in COVID numbers. She said that since November 1st, they have been seeing this increase in COVID cases, and the samples have been sent for genomic sequencing. Okay. And also she says that the JN1 variant that was detected in a woman in Kerala was on November 18th, actually last month, and she's recovered fully. She said the transmissibility of this variant is very high, but the severity is less. So there's nothing much to worry. But yes, older people need to be a little more careful, especially with comorbidities. And she said all the deaths that have been reported are not due to COVID complications, but due to comorbidity, because most of them...
That's important to highlight, and that's something authorities in every state really are mentioning, saying that this variant is not known to be deadly. Sagai, Shibi, thanks very much for joining us with those details. With holiday season, obviously tourist footfall in many states is also increasing, the likes of Goa as well. So I just wanted to also put out the data on what Goa and what the COVID cases in Goa looks like. Active cases in Goa is at 16 right now. And remember, many states right now aren't putting out data on a daily basis like they used to. The union government is putting out a lot more information. But if you've got plans to head to Goa for the holiday season in the next 1 week, should you be worried? Should you cancel your plans? Well, the Goa government hasn't issued any sort of advisory, but we thought we'll get you an expert on the show to explain what do you do in the face of this kind of a rise in COVID cases and with a new variant coming up. Joining us on this broadcast is Dr. Naresh Trehan, Chairman and Managing Director of Medanta, the best possible voice to explain all that we're seeing right now with regards to these COVID cases going up. Dr. Trehan, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on India Today. First of all, Dr. Trehan, I know a lot of people watching this broadcast are wondering, should we cancel our holiday plans? Should we stay put? Should we go back to, ensuring that we don't mingle with large crowds? What would you advise, sir?
So the situation is like this. We know that the JN1 is present in our country, and there are some states that are showing higher rates of infection than others. But in the south mainly, Karnataka, Kerala and Goa are actually seeing a rising number of cases. So the alert that we want to give out to people today is, one, it is a very mild infection if it happens, except for those people who are already having comorbidities, because they are the ones who are very vulnerable. So the advisory to them today is avoid crowded places. I don't think that there is enough alarm to say stop traveling, but if you're going in a plane or a train or in a bus, wear a mask. We all know how to wear a mask and got used to it 2-3 years ago, and that's what you need to come back to, just to protect yourself. Especially the ones with diabetics, elderly people, patients with people who already know they have heart disease and lung disease. These are the 4 vulnerable things that you normally are experiencing in large numbers. So actually, you need to protect yourself. no matter what advisory comes, whether to wear mask or not mask, it does not mean as an individual you need to protect yourself. The rest of the people, as we know, the transmissibility is because it's airborne is very high, but the severity of the disease is not that high. So people do get flu-like symptoms, cough, cold, fever, but it usually passes within 2 to 3 days. So that's the current scenario that we know. Now, if you look at Medanta, we have seen some patients who are coming with lung infections, and there's one case we know which was severe, but the rest is not so. So everybody is testing again and again, but not everybody who gets a cold and cough should go and get tested for COVID, because just the fact that if you do have a cough and cold, protect your family and your environment by wearing a mask. So I think that's the current status that we have. Now, of course, we have to keep watching it on a daily basis, but there is reason to be alert, not panic, but alert for yourself and protect yourself if you are already predisposed.
Dr. Trehan, a lot of people also are rather dismissive about these cases going up. There are some who are saying that, look, this is cyclical, that every time during winter you see a slight rise in COVID cases. Do you think that's what this is?
It could be, but why second guess something which can affect you adversely if you are vulnerable? All we are saying today, the warning has to go to the vulnerable people, and you're not saying stay home or don't avoid crowds if you can, but wear a mask. If you are traveling, you're in a crowd, wear a mask, and N95 will protect you. So I think from that point of view, in a general view for people who have had problems, should not expose themselves unnecessarily, because then you regret it later. And it is true that lots of people are having cough and cold that are not COVID. So that's why I'm saying that I don't think we feel the need for people to go get themselves tested every time you get cough and cold. But at the same time, for the elderly, you must protect them. Even if you're at home, you're getting cough and cold, somebody has, isolate yourself a little bit or wear a mask when you are exposed to other people. There's no reason to. Even a common cold spreads by airborne communication. So that's why it is important that if you know you're getting something, protect yourself and protect your environment, your people, your elderly, especially your elderly.
This particular variant, Dr. Trehan, if you could just explain to us, what are the symptoms that people need to really watch out for? I know there's a lot of talk about ramping up testing, etc., but people obviously are a little wary of going in for a COVID test right now, seeing as, they want that messaging of the pandemic is behind us, etc. But what are the symptoms to watch out for? Can this turn severe?
So far, like this is the season where people get flu. People get a cold and cough and fever. They do. But we don't know whether it is JN1 that is causing all this. No, we don't see it yet, because lots of testing that we have done is not very highly positive, because very, very few cases may have tested. Now, if you are, if there are several states reporting that people who have returned, traveled to Nepal and come back, they are ones who are testing positive. Well, that's one thing, that you be careful about people who have been traveling overseas or areas from which there are rising cases. Then you just be careful or isolate yourself or keep your distance. So I think that there are very practical ways of trying to protect yourself, which I have repeated again and again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you need to do. Then to do really, there's no reason for panic, but there is definitely reason to be alert and protective of yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Trehan, for joining us here on India Today. What you've shared with us has been extremely informative as well, and very useful, I'm sure, for many of our viewers who've been wondering if they should call off their holiday plans. Dr. Trehan telling you there's no need to do that, but also says there's no harm in masking up. It's the best way to ensure that you're taking care of yourself and those around you, even from a flu, not just from COVID. Thank you very much, Dr. Trehan.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so as we in fact get you the latest updates on this, let's cut across to breaking news that's coming in. All right, and let's get you the breaking news that's coming in right now of COVID cases on the rise again. 22 cases that have been reported until December 21st. JN1 cases that have been reported until December 21st. And this is the information we're picking up, that no COVID clusters have been identified so far in any part of the country. But there are attempts to identify those who've tested positive, which variant really they tested positive for. So of the COVID cases that have been reported, the active ones, 22 of them are of the JN1 variant. Now, if you've got that variant, is it a matter of concern? Absolutely not. It's not something that leads to any sort of serious form of COVID at this point. And with that update, I'm slipping into a short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you the big story that's coming in from Karnataka. A video of a minister put up on his social media page flaunting his luxury travel on board a private jet along with the Karnataka Chief Minister to Delhi. And for what? To seek funds for drought relief in Karnataka. It sparked a big fight. We'll get you details about this video in just a bit.
India, as you know, is a land of diversity where countless stories are born every day. A brand that has celebrated the rich mosaic of our country, India Today, is the brand that has been covering stories from all spheres of life from across the country tirelessly, making sense of the myriad India and the Indians residing in here. The story of India Today and the story of my latest film, Donkey, which is inspired by the phenomenal dreams and struggles of the same Indians and is a story about love and friendship filled with humor and heart.
हमने मजबूरी में अपना घर छोड़ा था, वरना कोई अपना देश, अपना परिवार, अपने दोस्तों को छोड़कर क्यों जाएगा सरहदों पे गोली खाने?
While my film Donkey symbolizes the struggle of many who leave home and their loved ones behind in the hope for a better life, they miss their homeland in this tough bargain. But it's their spirit that helps them carry on. India Today has been capturing the indomitable spirit of being an Indian for over 5 decades now. India Today, making sense to India, making sense of India.
कुछ दिन पहले पार्लियामेंट हाउस में 2-3 युवा जंप करके अंदर आ गए। जंप करते हुए हम सब ने देखा, अंदर आए, थोड़ा धुआं फैलाया, बीजेपी के सांसद सब भाग लिए, जो अपने आप को देशभक्त कहते हैं, हवा निकल गई उनकी। वो टीवी पे आपको नहीं दिखा, वो हमें दिख रहा था पीछे से। सबसे पहली बात, अंदर कैसे आए? सिक्योरिटी ब्रीच की बात हुई, सही है। अंदर कैसे आए? पार्लियामेंट के अंदर वो गैस का सिलेंडर ले आए। अगर गैस का सिलेंडर ला सकते थे तो कुछ और भी ला सकते थे।
All right, big political news break that's coming in this evening. Even as you had this morning, the India Alliance coming together and staging a protest at Jantar Mantar over the suspension of 146 MPs. You've now got the BJP putting the focus once again over the mimicry showdown. Home Minister Amit Shah now lashing out at the Congress directly, in fact at Rahul Gandhi, saying that a senior Congress leader referring to Rahul Gandhi insulted Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. Anurag Thakur also has now lashed out at Rahul, saying that the kind of incident that was reported and of Rahul Gandhi shooting the entire mimicry episode is completely undemocratic. Let's play out for you those reactions.
एज ए लेजिस्लेटर मैं बिल को पायलट कर रहा था। मेरे मन में बहुत इच्छा थी कि इसमें प्रतिपक्ष के भी विचार आए, परंतु दुर्भाग्य की बात कि क्षुल्लक कारणों के कारण बहाना बनाकर विपक्ष ने ये पूरे बिल की चर्चा का बहिष्कार करने का दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण निर्णय लिया। जब देश की क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम के अंदर आमूलचूल परिवर्तन लाने वाले 3 कानूनों पर बहस हो रही थी संसद के अंदर, विपक्ष के सदस्य संसद के बाहर महामहिम उपराष्ट्रपति की मिमिक्री करने का काम कर रहे थे। इससे ज्यादा निंदनीय काम कोई और हो नहीं सकता। और कांग्रेस जैसी पुरानी पार्टी के प्रमुख नेता इसकी वीडियोग्राफी कर मखौल उड़ा रहे। इस देश में कभी भी ढेर सारी सरकारें आई और गई, परंतु संवैधानिक पदों की मर्यादा को हमेशा बनाए रखा गया। भारतीय जनता पार्टी पक्ष में रही या विपक्ष, हमने कभी संवैधानिक पद पर बैठे हुए व्यक्ति के सम्मान को चोट नहीं पहुंचने दी, न पहुंचाई।
श्रीमान राहुल गांधी अपरिपक्व, अगंभीर, अलोकतांत्रिक हैं। उनका आचरण लोकसभा के अंदर हो या सदन के बाहर हो, ये शर्मसार करने वाला है। कैसे एक व्यक्ति जो एक बड़े राजनीतिक दल का अध्यक्ष रहा हो, वर्षों से सदन का सदस्य हो, सांसद हो, उसके बावजूद एक नहीं अनेक बार कभी बोलकर तो कभी अपने कृत्यों के माध्यम से आलोचना सहता है। राहुल गांधी जी ने जो किया, देश उनको माफ नहीं करेगा। अगर कोई सांसद कुकृत्य कर रहा था तो उसको रोकना चाहिए था, कुकृत्य में शामिल नहीं होना चाहिए था। संवैधानिक पदों की न गरिमा न सम्मान बल्कि अपमान करने का काम श्रीमान राहुल गांधी ने किया है। पूरी कांग्रेस पार्टी को माफी मांगनी चाहिए। सोनिया जी, राहुल गांधी जी को ऐसा लगता है मुंह में बर्फ जम गई है, होंठ सिल गए हैं। माफी मांगना तो दूर, ये उल्टा आरोप लगा रहे हैं।
So even as the government faced questions over the manner in which 146 MPs, opposition MPs, were suspended in the winter session, Rajiv Sardesai spoke exclusively with Parliamentary Affairs Minister Pralhad Joshi, who blamed the opposition completely, saying that despite clear agreements, the placards will not be brought into Parliament. They did so. He's also pinned the blame on Rahul Gandhi.
So you're saying the opposition used the suspensions as a tactic in a way to ensure that Parliament is...
They never wanted to run the Parliament.
They didn't want to run the Parliament. But I want to understand from you, when I look at the numbers, 2004 to 14, sir, UPA 1 and 2, 50 MPs were suspended Lok Sabha. 2014 to 23, it's 210 and counting. What does this suggest? Is there a breakdown of trust? The opposition does not want to work with you. And you are a majority government, you don't want to work with the opposition. My way or the highway seems to be on both sides.
That is not correct, and I have already explained you the position many a times. We requested them, we asked for the consultation, we asked for the, ultimately it is the democracy where you can corner the government by disrupting government. Normally क्या होता है? By disrupting, opposition will be losing the opportunity. You could have raised 100 questions against the government, and इतने बड़े देश में, in such a big country, you can, any government, कितने भी अच्छे काम करते हैं तो भी कहीं ना कहीं तो कॉर्नर कर सकते हैं। वो भी आप ना सुनो, आप अपॉर्चुनिटी खो लेते हैं, और हमारा रिक्वेस्ट करने के बावजूद भी तो आप चुनाव के बाद, चुनाव के रिजल्ट के बाद आप क्या बोलते हैं? आप ये बोलते हैं ऐसे आराम से चल रहा है, और एक मौका मिलता है 40 मिनट, आप 2 बजे के बाद 40 मिनट चर्चा क्यों किया आपने? बाद में कौन बोला आपको रोकने के लिए?
So who do you think stopped it? You're hinting that someone outside the parliament instructed the MPs to disrupt parliament and not allow it to function. That's the insinuation you're making, right? You're saying someone is directing the Congress MPs to get themselves suspended.
As soon as it started again at 2 o'clock, it ran up to the 2:40. And who disrupted it? Ask the, why did they allow for 40 minutes and then why did they stop it?
All right, let's shift focus to the other big political story of the day, and this one comes in from Karnataka. You had a minister, part of the Siddaramaiah cabinet, Zamir Ahmed, posting this video that you see on your screens of him walking through and enjoying a private jet ride. Putting up this video where he's flaunting off this kind of a lifestyle at a time when he, along with Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and some other ministers, were on board that plane going to Delhi to seek funds for drought relief for Karnataka from the central government. It's obviously led to questions about where the Karnataka government's money is going, whether it's ensuring a lavish lifestyle for ministers while they ask the central government for funds for the people of Karnataka. The BJP has lashed out at this splurge by the Karnataka government. Siddaramaiah has questioned and defended it, saying, how does everyone else travel? How do other dignitaries travel? Here's a report.
A swanky private jet with plush seating, top netas from Karnataka flaunting their lavish lifestyle. This video, originally posted by Karnataka Housing Minister Zamir Ahmed Khan, shows him with Chief Minister Siddaramaiah while returning to Bengaluru from Delhi after seeking drought relief from the Narendra Modi government. Zahir Ahmed Khan posted the video with the caption, "Happy moments of travelling with our proud leader Chief Minister Siddaramaiah." The Karnataka government delegation had met Prime Minister Modi on December the 19th, requesting 18,000 crore rupees in relief packages for the state undergoing a historic drought. Well, soon after Zamir posted the video on Twitter, a full-blown political war started between the BJP and the Congress. Top BJP leaders tore into the ruling Congress over Zamir's lavish photo shoot inside a private jet amidst a drought in Karnataka.
कांग्रेस का डबल स्टैंडर्ड इसमें ही हम देख सकते हैं। हम 10-15 सर्विसेज है बिटवीन दिल्ली बेंगलुरु एंड बेंगलुरु दिल्ली। इसमें तो ऐसे लग्जरियस एयरक्राफ्ट लेके जाना इस टाइम तो बिल्कुल गलत है और एक तरफ डोनेशन मांग कर रहे हैं।
Siddaramaiah himself has forgotten his responsibility. Being a Chief Minister of Karnataka state, it clearly shows the seriousness of the state government and the carelessness of state government against a farmer's the distress. It's very unfortunate. Bharati Janata Party strongly condemns Siddaramaiah's and his government's attitude.
The Congress hit back at the BJP, questioning Prime Minister Modi's travels.
Please ask this question to BJP people. Narendra Modi ಅವರು ಯಾವ ವಿಮಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ತಿರುಗಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ತಿರುಗಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆ ತಿರುಗಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? So they have come on a special flight which normally the Chief Minister uses. So it is quite natural, obvious. There is nothing great in it. As earlier also, when earlier BJP ministers, Chief Minister used to use, my Chief Minister also, in order to save time, he has come out. There is nothing wrong in it. This is all a political statement. We don't mind their comments on that.
The controversy is bad optics and imagery for the Congress as Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's flight to Delhi in a private jet comes in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign by the Grand Old Party. With Sagai Raj at Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
And let's get you a reaction coming in from the minister seen in that video flaunting his travel in a private jet to Delhi. He's defended this splurge, saying that we tried to get normal flight tickets, tried to fly, in a domestic flight, but didn't get that chance because tickets were completely sold out. So we didn't have a choice but to take this kind of a private jet, because we also had a cabinet meeting to attend soon after. Now, the Congress's defense, largely the face of this, has been how does the Prime Minister travel in chartered planes? Let's play out for you what Zamir Ahmed has said.
नहीं, हम लोग दिल्ली गए हुए थे आने जब वापस आने का था, सीएम का जो प्रोग्राम होने की वजह से वापस आने का था, कैबिनेट था, नेक्स्ट डे कैबिनेट था, कल कैबिनेट था, उस वजह से वापस आना था। कोई भी फ्लाइट में टिकट नहीं मिला तो स्पेशल फ्लाइट में आना के गुनाह है क्या सीएम का? अभी क्या नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री के ऑटो में घूम रहे, नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री ऑटो रिक्शा में घूम रहे, इमरजेंसी है तो सीएम एक स्पेशल फ्लाइट में आता है, गलत क्या है वो?
You're tracking all the updates that come in on that story. I'm slipping into a very short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. On the other side, reports coming in, ground reports from Ayodhya. Exactly 1 month to go for the Ram Mandir inauguration, but there's also politics that's playing out of the invites that have been sent out. We'll tell you why in just a bit.
Preparations for the January inaugurations are going on. The Ram Mandir will be closed to the public on the 21st and 22nd before opening its doors for all on the 23rd. Invitations have been sent out to all dignitaries, including opposition leaders. Sonia Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, along with other state unit leaders from the Congress party, have received invitations from the Temple Trust. So have Aam Aadmi Party leader Arvind Kejriwal, BSP Supremo Mayawati, the CPM Sitaram Yechuri and the CPI's D. Raja. Former Prime Ministers Dr. Manmohan Singh and H.D. Devegowda have also been invited. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath personally supervised security arrangements in Ayodhya on Thursday. It's going to be an amalgamation of human as well as artificial intelligence with air tactical aerostat systems, AI-powered facial recognition cameras, long-range aerostat cameras, upped riverine security, and special AI-powered alarm systems programmed to sound alerts on intrusion of any suspected boats. Ayodhya is going to be secured from land, air and water.
Air quality today. In Delhi, 438. In Mumbai, 194. In Kolkata, 191. In Bangalore, 50. In Chennai, 81. In Hyderabad, 118.
Exactly 1 month to go for the grand inauguration of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. Preparations already underway. Invites are being sent out as we speak, but there's also a lot of controversy over who's been chosen for the event and so far who hasn't. While invites have gone out to several opposition leaders, the likes of Sonia Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge have been given invites. No invite, according to Sena UBT leader Sanjay Raut, has gone to Uddhav Thackeray. Now, this has sparked controversy as, in fact, the Sena UBT has cried conspiracy and questioned why Uddhav Thackeray has not been invited just yet. Preparations are on a war footing right now. Remember, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting on December 30th. That's when you're going to be seeing the Sri Ram International Airport being officially inaugurated in Ayodhya. There were test flights conducted today. So flights will take off, land in Ayodhya from December 30th.
3000 करोड़ से ज़्यादा के परियोजनाओं का हम लोग लोकार्पण प्रस्तावित कर रहे हैं और लगभग इतने ही 3000 करोड़ के प्रोजेक्ट्स को हम लोग उनका शिलान्यास कराएंगे। तो ये लिस्ट को तैयार कर लिया गया, सीएम ऑफिस भेजा जाएगा, वहाँ से जब वहाँ से उसको हरी झंडी दे दी जाएगी तो हम लोग उसकी तैयारी कर रहे हैं। तो हम जो भी ऑप्शंस है सभी संभावनाओं पे हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं और तैयारी हम लोग पूरी कर रहे हैं कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जब यहाँ पर दौरा होता है तो हम लोग जो रेलवे स्टेशन का दौरा प्रस्तावित है, एयरपोर्ट का जो इनॉग्रेशन प्रस्तावित है और जो जनसभा होनी है उसकी हम लोग तैयारी कर रहे हैं।
परिवार के लिए एक प्राउड की बात तो रहेगी, जैसे उस दिन सही में दिवाली, जैसे लोग बोलते हैं कि सही में दिवाली बनाएंगे कि राम जी घर पधारे, वैसा ही होगा डेफिनेटली। और पर्टिकुलरली हमारे परिवार के लिए जो इनके साथ बरसों से इतने सालों से जुड़ा हुआ है, तो हमारे लिए भी बहुत खुशी की बात होगी कि एक मंदिर जो पहले मेरे दादाजी ने बनाया सोमनाथ का और दूसरा ये मंदिर हम बना रहे हैं, तो वी आर ब्लेस्ड और भगवान का ऑब्वियसली शुक्रिया करेंगे कि ये हमें इसका काम दिया गया और इसके ऊपर से हम इसको परिपूर्ण कर सके और उस लेवल तक का कर सके कि लोग उसको पसंद करें।
देखिए, जिसका योगदान है उनको कभी नहीं बुलाएंगे, अब तक तो नहीं आया है, क्योंकि हमारा बहुत बड़ा योगदान रहा बाला साहब ठाकरे जी का और शिवसेना का, तो हमको हमारा योगदान का हिस्सा नहीं मिलेगा। सब कुछ तो ये लोगों ने किया है ना। अगर आप राम मंदिर की क्रेडिट लेना चाहते हो तो देश में आज जो हो रहा है, पुंछ में हो रहा है, संसद में घुसपैठ हो रही है, उसकी भी जिम्मेदारी लो भाई।
तो राम सबके हैं,
उम्मीद लग रहा है
सबके राम,
नहीं आया है। हाँ।
मुझ में राम, एक ही राजा एक ही राम, सबके राम है, सबको जाना चाहिए।
Let's tell you also about what Ayodhya is looking like right now. Preparations continue in the last 1 month. You've got everything being put in place to ensure that on 22nd January, when the inauguration happens, it's going to be a massive, mega, grand affair. Lakhs of people are expected to gather in Ayodhya, for which preparations are underway. Hotels completely booked out till February, because while on 22nd January the inauguration happens, the temple will be open for public on the 23rd, the very next day.
The transformation is nearing completion. The historic city is gearing up for the grand inauguration of Ram Temple just a month away. Ayodhya is already bustling with devotees, flocking in from different parts of the country. Faith and devotion know no language barrier. Ram devotees from Tamil Nadu have arrived a month ahead of the January 22nd inauguration.
What do you feel after coming here about the Ayodhya, about the Ram Mandir?
Super.
Very fine.
Super, fine.
Very fine.
Fine. Rama Jai. Pressure. நூற்றாண்டு பிரச்சனையே மோடி ஜெய் ராம். Super.
A city of 3 million, Ayodhya anticipates hosting at least 4.5 million devotees a month after the upcoming opening of the Ram Temple. The economic surge accompanying the expected influx is already evident. Hotels are fully booked. Restaurants are operating at full capacity.
आज हमारा पहला दर्शन है, पहली बार अयोध्या आए हैं, मगर देख के दिल प्रसन्न हुआ। जो व्यवस्था और जो निर्माण हो रहा है वो ऐसा कहीं भी नहीं होता, और ऐसा एक मोदी जी के टाइम पे हुआ है, और जो भी होता है उनके समय के हिसाब से होता है।
लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट है, मंदिर बनते हुए देख रहे हैं, बहुत बड़ी बात है।
बहुत भव्य और अतुलनीय, और मेरे हिसाब से जब गूगल में दोबारा कभी हिंदुस्तान को सर्च किया जाएगा तो अयोध्या नाम सबसे ऊपर दिखेगा।
Ayodhya's hospitality sector has quickly adapted to the arrivals from the south and as far as West Bengal. Hotels and restaurants now feature idli, dosa, sambar and rice on their menus.
जान लीजिए, पहले यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं था अयोध्या में, दूर तक कुछ खाने का सामान नहीं था। अब तो आप जहाँ भी जाएंगे वहाँ जो इच्छा करेगी आपको वो खाइए। यूके का फूड मिल रहा है यहाँ पर, रोजगार बहुत बड़ा है, ठीक है। अब दुकानें जो हैं वो ग्राहक भी अच्छे आते हैं, बाहर के लोग आते हैं, अच्छा सामान खाते हैं, अच्छा पैसा देते हैं।
पहले से नो डाउट यात्री तो बढ़े हैं और बढ़ने के साथ साथ डिमांड भी बढ़ी है। साउथ इंडियन थाली की, आंध्रा थाली की,
ओके, उनकी भी बड़ी है डिमांड।
जी हाँ,
व्यंजन में उस तरीके की भी मांग हो रही लगा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
Development work continues unabated in Ayodhya. Road and rail now seamless connect to the city. Trains set to start operating from January 19th, following the consecration of the idol of Lord Ram. The temple, nestled in a sprawling complex of intricately carved pink sandstone and white marble, will be open to public from January 23rd. Both the central and the state governments are sparing no effort for a spectacular inauguration. On Thursday, UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited Ayodhya, engaging in prayers and overseeing security and other arrangements at the sacred site. Ayodhya poised to usher in a renaissance of faith and a surge of investments and prosperity. Bureau Report, India Today.
So in exactly 1 month from now, the inauguration of the historic and grand Ram Mandir will take place. And here on India Today, we're going to continue getting you all the latest reports of what's happening in Ayodhya in preparation for that huge moment in 2024. That's all we have time for on this broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up on the other side is Mission 2024 with Nabila. She's putting the focus on the suspension showdown. Massive protest by the opposition today. And you've had Pralad Joshi in conversation with Rajiv, also highlighting and blaming the opposition for what's played out in Parliament in the winter session.
A strategy, or at least the outline of what you think could be a potential game changer idea which breathes some life into the moribund Congress?
No, Congress, the strategy, I don't know, I am nobody to suggest them a strategy. The biggest strategy they need to take on table is they have to first accept that they are moribund. The problem is Congress is never ready to accept that fact. Whenever I have dealt with them 2 years back, now I am no longer dealing with them, but they simply, so long you continue to refuse and live in denial, you are not going to get better results. The problem is not that there is no better strategy to take on BJP. The problem is Congress doesn't want to accept that they are moribund and they need to do things differently. Exactly what I told you in Madhya Pradesh. BJP, despite all their might, they realized that they made mistake in Madhya Pradesh and they made the amends this time. Congress, despite the fact that they are moribund, they continue with the same strategy, same policy, same narrative, same chat, same approach. So obviously they are not going to get any advantage of it. So if I can give one piece of advice, I would say, please accept that your organization in the large part of Hindi heartland is all but dead. Unless you accept it, you cannot make corrections.
That is a very important point, that accept that there is a problem, because the problem is staring you in the face. It keeps coming back to bite you, and yet the Congress at this moment doesn't seem to want to accept that.
Minister of Karnataka is asking the Centre for Drought Relief Fund. The Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka tells his own MLAs and people that there is no money left for development because all the money has been splurged on the so-called promises made by the Congress party, which they are unable to fulfill. They are increasing the prices of milk, they're increasing the prices of electricity. On the other hand, we see the ministers of Karnataka government are doing photo shoot and splurging in VVIP planes and jet planes at the cost of taxpayer money, along with the Chief Minister. This is obscene, shameful, and it only shows that Congress's mindset is to use any state it gets power in as an ATM. They did that in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. Now it is turn of Karnataka and Telangana.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 23 and minimum 8 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 28 and minimum 25 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 27 and minimum 15 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 28 and minimum 18 degrees. Chennai, maximum 26 and minimum 22 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 28 and minimum 13 degrees.
Co-presented by आपका जॉय भारत का जॉय जॉय ई-बाइक, powered by टाटा पावर दुनिया किसके हवाले, co-powered by पारुल यूनिवर्सिटी वडोदरा गुजरात, co-powered by ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा, ArcelorMittal निप्पॉन स्टील इंडिया बनाऊंगा मैं बनेगा भारत।
Thanks for watching India Today, Mission 2024. I'm Nabila Jamal. Suspension in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, 146 of them, has become the real big flashpoint of 2023 as the year ends and the winter session has ended. Will the opposition